So, thank you very much for joining us and sticking around to the end of the day. Now, this is how many events have you been on your world tour so far?
So I guess about seven so far, but in the middle. Yeah.
This is your hump. You're midway through at the moment.
Hump day, yeah.
I'm interested about the kind of things. I mean, obviously, you guys are all very active on Twitter as well, and we get the questions coming in from the audience and so on. I'm interested about the kind of feedback that you've been getting in terms of maybe some of the questions that you get asked quite a lot, stuff that we don't get a chance to talk about during the course of the day. Very common themes for you, Rufus, that people have been bringing up.
One very common one is, when can I get it?
Right. Okay.
And otherwise, I get a lot of tweets also about questions about Typekit, questions about this whole Creative Cloud integration.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the sort of things that I get.
Funnily enough, one of the questions that I did scribble down from Twitter earlier on actually relates to Typekit, and I don't know if you, Paul, are able to answer it, but it is what happens to desktop Typekit fonts when you leave Creative Cloud?
All right, that's a good question. So, poof.
Okay.
Yes, when you end your membership of Creative Cloud, of course, you also terminate the service of Typekit.
Okay.
So the same thing goes for web fonts and desktop fonts. And if you want to continue using them, well, you either purchase them from the vendors to have them in, as a material copy. And the same thing goes for Typekit. If you want to continue using Typekit fonts without Creative Cloud membership, well, then you have to subscribe separately and to have this sort of, membership with Typekit directly.
Now, in terms of assuming you've either gone directly or you are still subscribed, whereabouts can you actually use these fonts? Are there any limitations licensing-wise?
Well, there's the normal licensing that we've always had. You can't distribute them, and we always say that. Also when you package an InDesign document, there's always that window that comes up that says, these are licensed fonts. Do you have the rights to do that? But then there's always that little checkbox at the bottom left, that you can say never show again, and that's what people usually do. But yes, the licensing, you can of course embed the fonts in a PDF that you would send to your printer, and of course these fonts would remain embedded in there even after you leave Creative Cloud. So PDFs are at no risk.
Sure.
And in the case of InDesign, if you create an InDesign package, the fonts are already packaged in that package as well.
Encapsulated,
yes,
right? Yes. Okay. Oh, good stuff. Thank you very much for clearing that up. Now, something else. It's not a question on Twitter. I wish someone had have asked it, but they haven't. And it's kind of two things, because I actually think I know where this is going. But Flash, obviously Adobe, very big relationship with Flash. But gaming. Now, games is something we've not talked about hugely during the course of today, but I know a lot of people who work in the creative industries are very much involved in games and bringing more interactivity to the work. In fact, when we were speaking with Richard earlier on, he was talking very, very much about that. So Flash's uses Flash as a product, its use is changing. And is it gaming where this is starting to come out more?
Yes, and it's actually just broadening as well. Because sure, I can output SWF, I can now output HTML. When it comes to SWF or packaging up any Flash content, I could easily distribute that as an app. So it becomes this platform for distributing content,
so
whatever it is.
It will work on tablet devices?
It would work on that. I can make an app right for that iPad. Right. And it lends itself well to gaming because it does a good job of processing graphics and fast. Again, on the GPU, we can have those accelerated graphics. And it's just a really rich platform for creation. So it just lends itself well to that. But it doesn't have to be specifically gaming. It could be anything. But we also know that there's a generation of people out there that have created banners and ads and different things like that. So we still have that as well, being able to output that as HTML. Right. Really straightforward. I wish, and I mentioned this earlier, but it's rebuilt from the ground up. So you haven't heard a lot about Flash Professional because we've been busy rebuilding it from the ground up for the past year and a half. Dark Gray.
It's interesting because I think there is a perception thing, certainly. Flash has had a bit of bad press, and particularly with the video kind of element of Flash kind of being phased out in favor of standard supported stuff. Yet you guys have still invested a lot of time and money into redeveloping Flash as a platform and as an application.
Yeah, and it's still definitely, it has a strong place in a lot of these areas because largely the DRM support you still have, the digital rights management with, say, Flash video. Again, it's nice that I can use a video tag, easily drop it in on a page for HTML, but have that protected. Flash still does an exceptional job in that area.
Jason, we were chatting earlier on about standards, about 1080p, about 2K, 4K. Hey, 8K.
8K.
Is that something that we should be sort of beefing up our PCs and our Macs and our desktops to be able to cope with, and can Premiere and After Effects and Photoshop as well sort of work with 4K footage right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's the nice thing, and that's something that we've been able to do, especially in Premiere and After Effects for quite some time, which is really handle these formats, which are today now, right, so beyond HD, 1080p, 2K, Ultra HD, which is 4K now. Yes, these are completely supported natively. In Premiere Pro, you can go up to 10,000 pixels, 10K if you wanted to do that.
That's going to be a big telly, isn't it?
That'll be a big television. And again, yes, I mean, 8K it's a wonderful thought and a wonderful promise. And if you have a screen like this in your house and can be 15 meters back, that's the way to watch 8K, so that you can really see and appreciate the definition. But what we've really done again in this release to bring all those elements together, because of course many who are creating this content are not necessarily creating it directly inside the Creative Cloud ecosystem, is that we've added more integration with our partners and competitors so that you can actually integrate and augment those workflows together. So one of the really nice things that I didn't get to mention earlier was that we now have native support on the Mac and PC for Avid DNX HD MXF. So that now ships with Premiere Pro. It can be accessed in Prelude, it can be accessed in the Media Encoder, import